But we begin in the Northern Territory, which has seen the boom times of recent years coming to an end with the winding back of mining and major projects. The impact is felt hard in remote towns like Katherine, where small business owners say work has come to a standstill. The Northern Territory Chief Minister says a new fracking industry can fill the void and be done safely, but fracking is a controversial business. And with Labor now threatening a moratorium, it's shaping up to be a major issue in the upcoming Territory elections. Stephen Schubert reports.
The more skills I can develop, the more better for me.
It's allowing us to give them that, step forward in order to get jobs and even jobs with us in the future. Do your run again, the same again, but just watch your travel speed. Do it this way.
It's a hot and humid day in Katherine, 320 kilometres south of Darwin.
So we just mark 70 on the square.
In this shed in the town's industrial area, 10 Indigenous job seekers are hard at work as part of the federal government's community development program. Welfare payments are linked to taking part in training in remote areas.
We get a range of certificates. A lot of qualifications coming through. It's going to help me down the track get a job.
And once they started to get right into it and realise where their potential is, within themselves and building confidence, they started getting more excited and more happy, and it bored them up a little bit and gave them a bit of inspiration. Just mark your 445 up.
Trainer Arthur Page knows the value of a job better than most.
About there.
He worked as an apprentice under his current boss at a Northern Territory mine 15 years ago, but lost his way and ended up in jail.
He'd put me through mentoring programs and he'd seen different potential within me, so I'd basically gone with the flow with that and I've followed it through, and that's where I am now today.
The idea is the trainees learn the skills they need to supply labour to local companies, but some of those industries are struggling.
We're running at probably half the capacity of people that we were this time last year, and we're tendering a lot further, a lot wider on a lot different industry works as well. We're certainly still supporting the companies that we always did, but some of them aren't there to be seen anymore.
2 iron ore mines that were in development near Katherine were abandoned. A manganese mine further south has stopped production. The Territory's last iron ore mine north of the town shut down, and a uranium mine is now only processing its stockpiles after a planned expansion was scrapped.
I think that's a real problem in remote communities and out in the regions, that people can get training, but they need something to turn that training into a real job.
The owner of this business says he wants to put on as many of these trainees as he can, but with his company so exposed to the economy, he needs to keep a weather eye on the horizon. The biggest storm cloud brewing is Northern Territory Labor's promise to put a moratorium on fracking for oil and shale gas if it wins this year's election. Hydraulic fracturing happens hundreds of metres under the ground, well below the water table. A mix of water, sand and chemicals is blasted down a well, cracking the surrounding rocks and creating pathways for natural gas and oil to flow through. It's a process that's become controversial around the world. US cattle rancher John Fenton says fracking polluted the groundwater his Wyoming property survives on. He's been in Australia warning people about what he says are the dangers of fracking.
It's got polluted water and toxic air, and we have 24 gas wells on our 800 acres.
Community opposition to fracking is growing.
No fracking!
This protest group is small, but it represents a considerable proportion of Katherine's 6,094 residents. And pastoralists, Indigenous elders and environmentalists, who are often divided on land management issues, find themselves united.
Couldn't allow it, It's too close to a sacred site.
The Hydraulic Fracturing Inquiry Commissioner, Alan Hawke, released his report on the controversial onshore oil and gas extraction technique last year. which stated fracking could be done safely with minimal environmental impact if the regulatory framework was tightened. The Territory government used the report to justify plans for a fracking industry in the Territory, and it's shaping up to be a key issue in the Territory's August election.
It'll be an opportunity for Territorians to vote on whether they want jobs, they want industry development and they want diversification of our economy, or they want to see private sector jobs stopped, like Michael Gunner's wrecking ball.
My values and views
But Labor
are shaped
isn't
by the
completely
fact that I
ruling
intend
it
to live
out.
here. We will establish a moratorium. This will allow us to do the body of work that will see us engage with Territorians and do a thorough, independent, scientific review. At the end of that moratorium, we will make a decision to either ban fracking or to allow it in limited, highly regulated circumstances.
You've obviously heard their first-hand experience of this.
Pastoralist Daniel Tapp supports the moratorium, but would prefer to see fracking banned completely. His property, Big River Station, 200 kilometres east of Katherine, is subject to one of the exploration licences granted under the CLP.
It's called a mandatory voluntary land access agreement. If I have to make an agreement with the industry involved, and if I can't come to an agreement within 60 days, there's an independent panel appointed by the government to make that agreement for me.
He's concerned about the impact fracking could have on his groundwater supplies and has teamed up with anti-fracking groups to stage protests around the Territory.
Oh, most definitely. I'll be standing my ground, yeah. And, you know, like I say, there's no guarantees. Mining companies won't give you guarantees on water security. The government won't.
But as the Katherine economy continues to falter, many are looking to the benefits of a new industry.
The oil and gas has been a growing part of our business for the last 6 years. They will fade and be gone, so that will reduce our requirement for apprenticeships and tradespeople as well.
That's real good. I'll have to start marking you down a bit more better now.
These Indigenous job seekers are continuing their training with high hopes they'll find a job on the other side.
A lot more to learn. Yeah, a lot more to come. It's great.